Today's video is part one of a series of 3 on how to plant a wildlife meadow in your garden. Today's video is about preparing the soil. Parts 2 and 3 will be uploaded next week and the week after, and John will be showing you what he's planting when he's planting. Hello, welcome to John Horsey Horticulture. John's been teaching horticulture professionally for over 30 years now, and on this channel we're hoping to help you develop your gardening skills. Whether you're new to gardening, looking for different ways to propagate your plants, or a seasoned horty who could always use tips and advice on how to grow vegetables, and a lot more. If you like learning those things, do consider following us by pressing the subscribe button. There's no charge. Don't forget to push the all-important notification bell. It just lets you know every time we upload a new video.
Hello again. Today we're going to have a look at creating a wildflower meadow. This is a mixture of perennial grasses and perennial flowers all living together, and they are a permanent feature. They're not just a temporary thing. Okay, so originally most meadows would have been wildflower meadows. There would have been this balance between the finer grasses and the wildflowers, and of course it's part of childhood memories. Of course we all had wildflower meadows. With the passing of the war, of course, then we got these artificial fertilizers and the development of tougher ryegrasses, and the poor old wildflowers and the fine grasses just died out. They couldn't compete with it, and any which did survive the competition were killed by the selective herbicides which were developed for them. So consequently we don't have many natural wildflower meadows today. The ones we do have are hopefully nature reserves and protected, but we can all do our own little bit to help get these going, and in the same way give a home to the wildflowers, the insects, the butterflies, the bees, the grasshoppers, and other wildlife which live in them. So scale will depend on what you've got. If I had 5 acres I could do a lovely meadow, but I've just got this little plot and I'm going to use this to create my own wildflower meadow. I started off by leaving it in the spring and seeing what would happen. Sometimes you've got dormant seed, it may just come back. But this is quite fertile soil. It's full of ryegrasses, and unfortunately it just came up and it was a bit of a mess. A few dandelions pulled through, but it was long grass. There were very few flowers. So I'm going to have to intervene, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the top 3 inches of the soil. That way I can reduce the old grass roots. I can take away hopefully any seeds which are on the top there, and I should get down to a finer, poorer soil which will suit the fine grasses and the flowers I'm going to grow. So that's my next job. I've got to take that off, and we can then start sowing. We'll be putting some fine grass seed down, things like sweet vernal grass and some of the bents, the very fine, very pretty grasses, very pretty flowering grasses. And we'll be putting in some wildflowers, and I shall be sowing some seeds and also planting some plants. But until I've got this top, I can't do much about that. So if you'll leave me to get on with my digging, I'm going to have to go with this and take the topsoil off, and we'll come back and see how I get on when we finish the digging. Right, hello again. You can see that I've taken out 2 of the little beds that I want to use to start my wildflower meadow. The idea being, as you remember, was to take the top turf off. That will take away all the ryegrass, all the vigorous grass, and hopefully then when we sow the finer grasses later on, they'll be okay. But what I've noticed as I'm going along is that actually as I dig the turf off, and as hard as I'm trying, the seed is falling in, and if you look closely down on the patch there, you will see that there's the seed of the ryegrass. And of course if I leave that to germinate with the fine grasses, it'll smother it out. So what I'm going to have to do is to have a false germination. So looking at these plots which I have here, bearing in mind that it's still quite warm, we're still end of September, the ground will be warm, I'm going to water this now and try and get all that seed which has fallen through to germinate. and then I can hoe that off and immediately sow the fine seed afterwards. So that's the plan now. I'm going to just put that down, get my hose pipe, and if Juno will keep out of the way, I'm going to water these beds. So just a question of damping it down. If you had a rain shower, you'll be fine. But I just want to get this so that all the seed on the surface will germinate. And lawns do germinate very, very well at this time of the year. It's the best time to sow a lawn if you want a lawn going, because the ground's still warm and the birds aren't feeding their babies or anything. All it needs is just a little bit of water to get the seed germinated. So here's the second bed, and what I'm just going to do, it doesn't need, I mean, actually it's quite moist down below. It's just the surface has dried out with the wind we've had over the last few days. So I'm going to just moisten that, and hopefully that'll be sufficient to germinate all those ryegrass seeds, and then I can get rid of those and sow my finer grasses later on. So it's not a question of soaking the ground, it's just a question of moistening the top, moistening the seed, and moistening the soil on which it will be resting, and then that will, along with the heat, that will stimulate germination, and we'll be able to get rid of the ryegrass. You can see a certain little dog's been digging here. There we are. So now we'll wait and see, and hopefully, I mean, normally grass comes up very quickly. I've known it come up in about 3 or 4 days at this time of the year. So hopefully it'll be up very quickly, then we can get on and destroy it and then sow the fine seeds.
Well, we do hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for joining us here in Somerset. Don't forget, John will be showing you how he's planting up the plots in the next part of the series, parts 2 and 3. In the meantime, if you like that and would like to follow us, do press the subscribe button. Don't forget to push the notification bell. It just lets you know every time we upload a new video. Until next time.